What is going on, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, cats and dogs? You are listening to another heart-stopping, chair-smashing, elbow-dropping episode of Hardcore Geek Wrestling. And as always, I'm your host, Ryan, a.k.a. Mr. Showtime. And I am so pumped. We are just a few days away from WrestleMania 33. We've got the Hall of Fame tomorrow night. We also got NXT TakeOver Orlando on Saturday and the big show itself on Sunday. I do want to apologize before we get into anything. We did promise an episode a day. I did document this in Tuesday's episode. I have been extremely sick this week. Had to miss some days of my big boy job. And unfortunately, we actually had this episode ready to go yesterday. Hammer and I actually did the pre-recorded. We did a segment that you're going to hear on this show. And unfortunately, I was too under the weather. It was pretty rough. So my apologies. We're actually doing Wednesday's episode tonight. And tomorrow, Friday, we're actually going to get two back-to-back episodes. Or maybe not back-to-back, but we're going to be getting two episodes of Hardcore Geek Wrestling. We're going to be covering the giants of professional wrestling, the best big men that you've ever seen on the WrestleMania stage. And then also we're going to be doing our match-by-match predictions for WrestleMania 33, as well as NXT TakeOver Orlando. So before we get into anything as well, I do want to thank you all for all your listens, your downloads, your subscriptions. You can always check us out at hardcoregeekcast.com. We're on Facebook at Geek Podcast. Hardcore Geek Wrestling is also on Twitter at Geek Wrestling. And you can check out our other show, Hardcore Geek Podcast. That's HC Geekcast on Twitter. And for all of our past episodes, we're on iTunes and Spreaker and pretty much anywhere else you can find your favorite pro wrestling podcast. Just go ahead and type in the words Hardcore Geek Wrestling, and you will find us right then and there. So today we kind of wanted to talk about, and this was yesterday, we wanted to talk about the women of WrestleMania. Okay, like last year was a huge event where we got to see the rebirth of the Women's Championship, which was absolutely awesome. Also, you know, we leading up to last year's WrestleMania, we saw the whole Women's Revolution, where we saw a lot of call-ups from NXT, such as Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch. We also got Charlotte as well. We saw some great competition between the likes of Paige. The Bellas were improving. You know, Alicia Fox is still doing her thing. So there's a lot to be happy about with the girls of professional wrestling, with the girls of WWE. I forgot to mention Dana Brooke, too. So, I mean, that's awesome. And then Emma coming back onto the main roster. I know she had a short stint before she had an injury, but always been a big Emma fan. Always been a huge fan of Evil Emma. So WrestleMania has always had its way of kind of showcasing different things. Like you have your tag teams, you have your giants, you got your main events. But until last year, I really think WrestleMania has kind of dropped the ball in showcasing the women of professional wrestling. Last year, I'm going to tell you right now, the women stole the show. Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and Becky Lynch absolutely 150,000 billion% stole the show. And this year kind of shapes up to be, you know, just like that. I am a little pissed that they did move the SmackDown's women's title match to the pre-show. I don't think it deserves to be there. I think it deserves to be on the main show with everybody else. But I digress. But as we go forward, we are going to do, we are going to have a cool little segment that Hammer and I actually recorded yesterday. We wanted to talk about this topic really bad. So without further ado, we're going to talk about the women of WrestleMania. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're back. It's WrestleMania week, and I got right now on the bat phone my partner in crime, one half of the podcast tag team champions of the world. From Asgard, Cleveland, we got the Hammer. What's up, man?
What's going on, Showtime?
Nothing much, man. Where are you? Are you traveling between on the Rainbow Bridge right now? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm rolling on it right now. Gotta get to Heimdall and get some stuff together. But I have a question. It's a weird question. So when you have other people on the show, are they the tag champs, or do I still get to hold my spot?
Well, no,
because a good old
you're the OG.
Rule going on.
No, you're the OG, so we're still undefeated.
Okay.
You know, other people like Peacemaker. She's the intergender galactic champion of the galaxy.
Okay.
Joe's the street. What's that?
She's the intergender by herself.
She's intergender by herself because she's not afraid to hit a dude. Joe's the street fight champion, and and when Chase comes on here, he's that random legend that does the once a year appearances. So yeah, everybody's got their role here. Dude, it's WrestleMania week. How excited are you?
Honestly, passe. I don't know how to feel about this WrestleMania so far.
Is it just because? Okay, I've been sick as a dog for the last 2 days. So like I missed. Go ahead.
It feels forced. That's what it does. This whole WrestleMania feels really forced, and of course it starts with the whole Brock Goldberg situation.
Man, okay, yeah, that's definitely
and then they
something.
tried to force everything around it. So
I hear you because so I was sick Monday, so I caught like 30 minutes, but I was homesick on Tuesday as well, so I watched not SmackDown, I watched Raw back. And I saw everybody's comments in the group text, and I'm like, yeah, this really was a real lame Raw, and it didn't feel like a go-home show. Now, SmackDown, on the flip side, they did a pretty good job with kind of getting everybody, all their ducks in a row and kind of hyping up as much as they could. My favorite segment was the John Cena and the Miz. I think that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then,
at least the John Cena part was. The Miz part I could have done without, but I would have rather him done that live in front of Cena versus trying to make that whole get situation, but, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but the thing I was really excited about, too, I know you're probably pretty pumped about this, is that we got the return to Naomi. She's gonna be fighting for the title in her home crowd, so that's something.
My only reservation about that is that, well, go ahead. We'll talk about the women first.
Yeah, we definitely want to get. No, that's what I really want to talk about today was the women. I think I know what your reservation is, and it's what I'm a little bummed out about. Is how are you going to put this on the pre-show and put Pitbull's dumbass on the main show?
They moved that one to the pre-show too?
They there's 3 pre-show matches. It's the Cruiserweight title, the SmackDown Women's title, and the
I didn't know that.
Yeah, then the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
I knew about the Battle Royal and the Cruiserweight, which I'm kind of pissed about because that was probably going to be the best match on the card, in my opinion. Neville and Austin Aries going at it, but yeah, I didn't know they put the SmackDown women on the pre-show.
Oh yeah, they absolutely did. I was a little bummed out about that, and it's like I could really care less about a musical performance by Pitbull or whoever you're going to put on there. It's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, they're trying to make it that multimedia experience, like they used to do back in the 80s where they had Aretha Franklin and all them doing all their things. So.
But Aretha just did the America the Beautiful, and then she got out of the way. That was it. That's all you needed.
Yeah.
I think it's just a little, like you said, it's a little too forced. But I am excited about the women's championship matches. I do believe that both rosters, they do have a strong women's division. Raw, they got the Fatal 4-Way thing. They've really just been focusing on the Becky and Sasha, Sasha and Bayley and Charlotte and Nia. They really don't do too much. They've been kind of, delegating Alicia Fox to the Cruiserweights. And we've seen none of Paige. Well, a lot of people have seen a lot of Paige lately. And Summer Rae's been injured, and Lana's there, but she doesn't wrestle. So I don't know. I really think that the stronger roster is definitely SmackDown, even though it's kind of a smaller roster. But I mean, when you think about, go ahead.
SmackDown is more extensive, though.
What's more extensive?
SmackDown has more. They're women. They have more women on their roster than Raw does.
They do. Did you hear about Eva Marie possibly being done with the company?
Not coming back. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like I said, I didn't really care for her anyway.
Yeah, it is what it is.
So.
Another thing, with the women's division, I'm Melina, and now she's going back to Emma, and she hasn't been on TV for a while, so I don't know what's going on with her character either.
Well, I don't know, we talked about it before, but I think the whole deal with her is that they didn't think that she was really committing to the role.
Yeah.
So that's why they had her show up and then walk right back off and turn her back into Emma. So.
And I'm cool with her.
You know,
I'm cool with her being evil Emma. I mean, that was a good gimmick. You could pair her back up with Dana Brooke. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I would like to see all the women kind of get a spot on Mania. Especially right now, you have the women's wrestling is really in a boom period as far as WWE goes. I mean, if you think back to women's wrestling like 10 years ago in the WWE, I mean, it was exactly 10 years ago we had a Playboy pillow fight, and we had the women's championship between Melina, who, I mean, some people may like her. I don't think she's the best in the ring. And then you had her against Ashley Mazzaro, who was just a model,
Yeah, pointless.
I mean...
Another pointless situation. I mean, I think of the two, Melina had the most talent, or the most upside of talent. Ashley Mazzaro was just pointless. There was no point in having her.
Yeah,
so,
I mean...
They spent money on her for no reason. And didn't she end up winning, like, the Diva Search or something crazy?
Yeah, that's how they got it. That's when they were doing those Diva Searches. I think they put her in Playboy, and then it seemed like for a while, whichever Diva was on the cover of Playboy that year, all of a sudden got a push. Like, they did it with Candice Michelle. They did it with Christy Hemme. I think they did it with Maria, too. And
China too, all of them.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess you figured they show their stuff on Playboy. They got to get something out of the deal.
Yeah, so. But like China made sense though, because China could mix it up with anybody. She can mix it up with the guys and the girls.
Yeah.
Like Sable, I think. I think she was. It made more sense with Sable. Like she was at least athletic, and she could kind of carry a match. She can't hold a candle to any of the women of today, but she can hold her own in a match. I'm thinking back in the Attitude Era. A lot of people like to talk about how great the Attitude Era was, and for the most part, I know we grew up with that, and it's always going to have a good place in our heart. But if you look at the quality of the matches, they were nothing compared to what we have now.
Oh no, I mean the Attitude Era was just that. It was PG, or I should say NC-17 back then.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it was. So,
and I think that's why
we don't give a damn era.
Yeah, and then sadly, that's kind of like how the WWF and WWE treated the women back then. First of all, they started calling them divas, and then everything. Like I think I was watching. One of the days I was sick, I was watching WrestleMania. I think it was 19. And they had like the Miller Lite Catfight girls fighting like Tori and Stacy in a pillow fight. It's like I don't know, man. Women's wrestling has come a long way. We'll just say that. It's
absolutely right.
Do you have any do you have any like good memories from like back in the day, like of like who you had as far as like who you would tune in to see as far as matches go?
Match-wise, not really. That's the problem. I mean, Trish always put on a good match. Lita always put on a good match. But outside of those two, I mean, you could see Trish evolving in the ring. It's like no one else during that time would actually take the time to try and evolve. They just tried to rest on their junk. So, like even Tori at one point tried to get it together. But it was kind of too late, Are you talking about
Tori Wilson or the first Tori?
Tori Wilson.
Okay.
Tori Wilson. The first Tori, she could wrestle too, actually.
Yeah.
So
I think she came from Glow, actually.
Yeah, Victoria. Yeah, she could actually go.
And then you had women that could really fight back in those days. Like you had Jacqueline, you had Ivory, you had Victoria and Trish. You remember Jazz?
Molly Holly too.
Molly Holly.
Oh, yeah, Jazz was a beast, yeah.
And it's like, but it seems like they didn't really showcase them how they should have been showcased, you know?
No, they didn't know. They didn't have the vision to use them in a way outside of just being women, you know. And that was one of Vince's faults with that. Like, you know, he couldn't see past the tits and ass. That's all he couldn't.
Yeah, I'm gonna look like this. If I'm putting Jazz against Dolph Ziggler, my money's on Jazz. You know.
Exactly.
So
yeah, Jazz wasn't nothing to play with. So
yeah, man, I think she was pretty awesome, and you know they did kind of. You know, they gave everybody a shot, but I don't think they really invested in these women, which is kind of a shame. But I mean, I had a real.
They're doing it now.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, they are now. I mean, we got a women's Hell in a Cell match this year, main event. One match that kind of stands out to me as like a real fun WrestleMania match, even though it was a little bit gimmicky. But I think it was for WrestleMania 20. They had Victoria against Molly Holly, and it was the one where Molly got her head shaved.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
And it was fun because like you didn't think that she would actually shave her head. She's a very pretty girl, you know, pretty woman, and it's like, you know,
yeah, she got a good payday out of that. You know, it definitely was a payday situation. She had to get a good payday out of that.
Exactly.
You know, because I guarantee they went through that locker room and everybody was like, hell no, you know. And she was the one that could probably pull it off if she wanted to cut her hair and go mohawk or something like that. So.
Oh yeah. And then like it seemed like, you know, WrestleMania like 25 through like maybe 27 or 28, you know, all the women or the divas as they were calling them then, or it was regulated to either like a weird battle royal or a multi-women tag, or they had that one year that like
having 10 like what was it, like a 12-woman tag match for no reason.
Yeah, and then they had the one year they put Snooki in there. Remember that?
Yeah, that was just that pissed what's the name off too, didn't it? Who was mad at that?
Trish.
It was like Trish. Yeah. She was pissed about that. I was like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, but it's like, I'm just happy to see that the WWE, you know, they're kind of breaking out of that shell and they are showcasing the women how they should be showcased. I think that, you know, eventually, you know, maybe the women will get a main event at Mania. I mean, hey, look at it like this. If Ronda Rousey she draws no matter what, man. And she's, you know, unfortunately got knocked out and tapped out her last few fights. But you see Ronda Rousey on a poster, you're ordering that pay-per-view. And that's the main event. That sells tickets just right there. And I think that the, you know, eventually, you know, with the women that we have now, especially with the returns of like Mickie James, I heard Kelly's coming back. You know, you got you got that for nostalgia, but then you got all these girls that are on the roster now, like girls like Alexa Bliss, Naomi, Sasha Banks, Charlotte, and then you got girls like Asuka and Ember Moon in NXT. This could very well get to a spot where we actually have a women's main event at Mania, if not like a semi-main event. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like second to last match where it's not a throwaway match.
Absolutely. And I think that, yeah, I mean, give it like, I'm going to say 3 years. I'm going to give it 3 years. I'm going to wait till Trips can really kind of get his full vision, till, you know, Vince is out of the picture. Not saying that he's dead or he dies or anything like that, but saying like, you know, Vince completely hands over the reins to Triple H, because Triple H has done that more than one occasion, has done like a takeover with the women in the main event, and they did Sasha and Charlotte in the main event of Hell in a Cell, and it's only going to keep going from there.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I mean, I would say we'd probably get it at SummerSlam or Survivor Series before the Mania.
I can see
one of
that.
those two.
Yeah, no, that's totally cool.
I mean, it just had to be built right to do it. You know, I miss the days where the main event of the freaking Royal Rumble was an actual match. You know, like the last time they did that was when with Punk and The Rock, and that's just because it was The Rock. So
exactly.
But yeah, they used to. You know, I remember one year they opened the show with the Rumble. It was like crazy. It was like, how the hell do you? I forget what year it was, but they had 1 year where the first freaking hour was the actual Royal Rumble match.
Oh my god, I have to watch that back. I could probably Google it and figure it out.
Yeah.
And then what's your take on intergender wrestling?
I think they should just leave it alone. They need to, I mean, they got enough, they got enough, a solid enough roster where they don't need to do that.
Okay, gotcha.
Before when it was, scarce and, when you had people as big as China rolling around, you know what I'm saying, and actually can go. Like, what's the name now? Nia Jax?
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's not a man wrestler. You know what I'm saying? She's a big girl, a pretty big girl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But she still should be facing women. Now, the funny part about this is my wife was watching it with me, and she said, "Why is she wrestling them?"
Got it.
I
She's
said,
a big girl.
"What do you mean?" She's like, there should be a limit on this, right? I said, no, it's women and women. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah, I'd like to see that. I totally see Nia in the main event. That'd be pretty cool. What's your thoughts before we wrap up? Two things. What's your thoughts on Beth Phoenix going into the Hall of Fame?
I don't know. I think she retired before her time. I think the Santino Marella thing really fucked her up.
Yeah,
that's what really screwed her up. Now, if you throw Beth into the mix now she'd flourish right now. I think she would.
Oh my God, yeah. I hope that's what it is too. I would love to see her come back.
Yeah, because she's like, I don't know what shape she's in now. I hope she kept herself in pretty decent shape. But if Beth Phoenix kept going, and I think that's probably why she retired, because she saw the writing on the wall, like, these women are starting to suck, and they're putting me in BS positions, and like no sooner than they got through with that whole Santino, gimmick, that's when she left.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, she didn't do too much after that. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, but I would love to see her come back in the roster now. If she's in good enough shape, especially since they got Mickey back, if she were to show up now, I think she would, and I would put her on Raw. Okay,
yeah, totally. I want to see a stable.
I would totally put her on Raw.
I want to see a stable of like all the older divas just beating the shit out of the the more prissy women they have right now. I think.
Well, if you remember the rumors early in WrestleMania season, that's what they were talking about doing. Because remember, like you said, they got Kelly supposed to be coming back. They were talking about Victoria might be coming back. So the Mania match was supposed to be 3 newer girls against the 3 after Alexa turns on her. She goes get 3 older girls, and then they come back at Mania and they have a 6-woman tag.
Yeah.
So
totally get it. Yeah, I would love to see that. I think that'd be a sweet SummerSlam setup, or at least you can tease it at Mania and set it up for SummerSlam. I think that'd be sweet. Before we wrap up, really quick, what are your predictions on the women's matches for Mania this year?
For some reason, I see Charlotte walking out with it again.
Okay.
I don't. That's just where I could see that happening. If not that, then definitely Sasha by beating Bayley. That would be how that would end. If Sasha wins, she's pinning Bayley, so they can start the feud between them going through the summer or whatnot. This kind of goes back to what I was talking about at the beginning. The only reservation I had with Naomi showing up Tuesday, I don't think she's going to win Sunday now.
Okay, why is that?
If she was a surprise entrant on Sunday, then yes.
See, I think that's how they should have done it. They should have done it just like that.
Exactly, but they brought her out on Thursday, let her cut her little promo about it being her hometown, and you know how you never win in your hometown the big match. So
CM
I don't
Punk did.
think she's going to win. Yeah, I mean she has a shot, but I give it a 70-40 that she does not.
So who do you see coming out as the SmackDown Women's Champ?
Here's my thought, and I don't know if I shared this with you. I think I showed it with DFN or whatever his name is.
DFN Nasty.
Yeah. I'm never gonna say that. I'll say the initials. But the thought is that it kind of goes on what happens at Takeover. If Asuka either way, the thought process is that Asuka's going to beat Ember Moon.
Yeah.
This is my prediction. She beats Ember Moon, shows up in the women's title match, wins the women's title match, then has to drop the belt back to NXT. But that way you keep her undefeated streak going into SmackDown.
I would love that. I love that idea. You never shared that with me, but I love that.
Yeah. So that I read that somewhere, and I kind of tweaked it a little bit to fit my own way. But they're thinking like she would. They were talking about online. They were talking about making it another triple threat match at Takeover, and then that way she doesn't actually lose the title, but Ember Moon beats whoever third person is. But I don't think they're going to go that way. Well, they're not going that way because they're fighting 1-on-1. So my thought is that she's going to go over Ember Moon and then have to drop the title back to NXT because she's going to win the SmackDown women's title.
Okay, I love that. I think that's pretty badass. So we'll see. I
would like that.
I like that. I'm thinking it's going to be Naomi, and I'll tell you why. I think they are going to try to capitalize on the hometown thing. I think she's going to pay tribute to the Orlando shootings that they had, the tragic Orlando shootings that was that last year. So she'll pay tribute to that. And I think that the reason that they brought her back last night, is because they know that the match is going to be on the pre-show, and that's a way to kind of boost people at least subscribing or tuning into the pre-show. He's like, hey, Naomi's coming back. Naomi's back, and she's going to come back.
Now that you mentioned that, and the fact, like I said, because I didn't know it was on the pre-show. Now that you mentioned that, and it is on the pre-show, I don't think that they would waste such a turn of events with Asuka on a pre-show.
No, not at all. I would love to see her.
I'm going to have to change my mind to ride with you. I think Naomi probably will go over.
Yeah.
That's what I want to win. I was just doing it off of logic, that the way that they work things. But now that it's on the pre-show, I can see them doing that with her. Yeah, I'm with you now.
Okay. And I my pick for Mania is Bayley. I think Bayley's retaining. But I think there's going to be some shadiness. I think it's going to show hints of a heel turn, but we're not going to quite get it at Mania.
I mean, if Bayley retains because she beats, if Bayley retains, and this is the way I would do it, I would have kind of, you remember back in the day when it would be a triple threat and then Bayley comes in, throws Charlotte off of Nia Jax or off of Sasha, and then pin Sasha.
Well, it's elimination now. Did you know that?
Oh, shit.
It's elimination rules
now. That worked in. Yeah, that throws a wrench into a lot of things.
Yeah, I think we'll get
but
something.
I will call Nia Jax will be the first one out.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I think they're going to triple team her and put her out.
Okay. Well, we'll see, man.
That's my call. So
we'll see. I'm really excited for Mania. Really excited for these women's matches. Glad to see they're finally getting the spotlight that they deserve. Obviously, the night before we got Asuka and Ember Moon, which I'm super pumped for because I love Athena, and always cool to see someone that you've seen up close and personal on the big screen. So really pumped for that. Really pumped for Mania. My friend, I'm gonna let you go. We're gonna wrap this segment up, and we'll see everybody tomorrow for a new episode.
All right.
Big thanks to the Hammer for coming on the show. It was a lot of fun. He had a lot of good points as far as past WrestleManias go, and some pretty good insight as far as his predictions going into WrestleMania 33. So we'll be hearing from the Hammer, definitely in the future. Possibly this week for the wow, I can't even talk. The rest of WrestleMania week. So, next thing we want to do is, I mentioned it on the past few episodes. This past weekend, I had the opportunity to go to Mega Championship Wrestling's Mo Money, Mo Problems event. I had an absolutely just amazing time. Had a chance to interact and interview a whole bunch of the talent. And this next interview is with the Fighting Spirit champion. She is probably one of the toughest competitors I've seen in a real long time. Her name is Joselin Navarro. I only had a chance to see her wrestle probably about a handful of times, but every time I get to see her in the ring, she never disappoints. And let's go to that interview right now with the Mega Wrestling's Fighting Spirit champion, Joselin Navarro. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, we're here from beautiful Elyria, Ohio. It's late, but we're still partying. We're here at Mega Championship Wrestling's Mo Money Mo Problems. I am in the backstage area, but I'm with the Fighting Spirit champion, Joselin Navarro. How are you? How are you feeling tonight?
I feel terrible. I went through war, but I came out on top. But I feel terrible. I had to wrestle Snow White, a.k.a. Laura Lovelace, and Super Oprah, who is a very, very large woman, whose wig is not secure, by the way.
I did see that. That was that came like kind of out of nowhere. She's gotta find somebody else to get her weaves or her wigs from.
Yeah, she got to get it together because it's not acceptable.
So kick-ass match tonight. I gotta say that, coming out on top, obviously. I think we were talking about it as we were walking back here. You took that sit-out powerbomb. I, for one, was a little worried. It looked really brutal.
I thought I died, actually. It was pretty high. My life was flashing before my eyes while he was spinning. When I hit the mat, I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't see anything. And by the grace of the higher powers, something happened, and I wasn't pinned. It was meant to be. I wasn't meant to be pinned. I was meant to win.
I got that. Okay, gotcha. So, it's professional wrestling. It's a wacky business. It's a wacky world. If you think of different types of people, different types of characters, I mean, it's insanity. What is the one thing? And I know you probably got this question before. Everybody gets this question when they come on one of these millions of wrestling podcasts that everybody has. But what's the one thing that got you into pro wrestling? Like, was it an individual? Was it a match that you saw? Do you remember just seeing something on TV, or what was it?
It was a match from WrestleMania 2000. It was a triple threat between the Dudley Boys, the Hardy Boys, and Edge and Christian in that ladder match. When I seen that, I want to say I was about 4. I think I was 4. Yeah, I was 4. And I seen that, and I was like, yeah, I want to do this when I grew up. So now I'm doing this when I grew up.
Is it kind of weird, just thinking back of that, you just see it on TV, and now you're, in there doing, Hurricane Ranas and taking giant power bombs from giant, oversized women?
It's kind of surreal, I always knew that I was going to do this, but now actually doing it is just, it's a whole nother world. It's an amazing thing to follow your dreams, to stick with the dream that you had when you were a child.
Absolutely. I mean, and, I think that speaks volumes because, for example, I work in an office. I never grew up as a kid being I can't wait to sit in a cubicle and just type on a keyboard all day. You are doing something you absolutely love to do. And, everybody in this locker room is doing what they love to do. And that speaks volumes. It's not like you're not settling for, cash register at, Pick and Pay or whatever. Are there still Pick and Pays around here? I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know what's happening right now. But you guys are all doing some kick-ass work. I got thrown off here. There's someone else in this room that I cannot name right now. Damn it. Where the hell was I? That's okay. Let's talk about training. Let's just talk about training. When did you start your training? When and where?
Last March, actually, at Mega's wrestling school. My trainer, Brandon Xavier. He's crazy, by the way.
Is he?
Yeah, he's a nut. He throws water bottles at us.
Is that like is it like a drill that you guys do, or is that just
he's just crazy. He's just crazy. If he feels like we're not listening, we could be listening, but if he feels like we're not listening, he'll throw it, and we'd be like, "Damn, what?" Yeah, but I mean, he's a great trainer. He's
kind of like the pro wrestling Mr. Miyagi in that case. Like, why are you throwing this? But it's really going to mean something at the end of your training.
I don't know if it mean anything, but I mean, that's one of his methods. But I mean, like I said, he's a really great trainer. Learned a lot from him.
Yeah, obviously. The first time I got to see you wrestle was at the Breaking Down Barriers Battle Royal. And the one thing I noticed, and then it's kind of becoming like a thing now in the United States, and it's more accepted, is like intergender wrestling. And you are not afraid to get in there and mix it up with the guys, smack the dudes around, and kick some ass. Is that something that, as a kid, you're like, I want to fight the dudes? Or did you want to just beat up Trish Stratus or something like that?
Because my older brother is a year ahead of me, and most of my cousins is boys. I used to always be with them, and we always used to fight and stuff a lot. So I was always into like wrestling and fighting and whatnot. So now and now I'm the only female in my training class. So I just feel comfortable with it. I'm like right at home. Like, none of these guys scare me.
Are some of the guys scared of you?
They need to be.
Okay. So that's just a nice little warning to everybody in the training class and anybody else that steps foot in Mega Championship Wrestling. I totally get that. That being said, you've started not too long ago. You're already the Fighting Spirit champion. Did you really see yourself going this fast, or is it something you're like not surprised by? Or be honest.
To be honest, when I first started training, I didn't think I would have a match like as quickly as I did. I had like an idea in my mind, like maybe I have to wait like a year or so. But I had my first match like in June of last year, and I started training in March of last year. So I guess that speaks to my progress. I am moving pretty fast though, which is something, it's not a bad thing. I'm pretty talented.
You want that mega title?
Oh yeah. I love Jackson and all, but I come for that title if, come down to it. Coming for it.
I can totally see that. So, yeah, Shogun versus Joselin. I love that.
And I'm going to win.
And you're going to win. Okay.
I might not win the first time or the second time or the 8th time, but I'm going to win.
Okay. So let's paint this picture. You pinning him or you tapping him out?
I'm going to pin him.
Okay.
I'm going to pin him.
Okay. Nice. So this week, obviously, it is WrestleMania week. This is one of many WrestleMania specials that we're going to be doing. You being a female competitor, and with everything going on in the world of professional wrestling, especially like the WWE, we've been seeing a lot of the whole women's revolution. We got a main event with Sasha Banks and Charlotte. The Hell in a Cell thing. Do you have any WrestleMania moments other than Edge and Christian, maybe with some of the women or divas that kind of stick out to you?
I cannot for the life of me remember what WrestleMania this was, but it was WrestleMania with Trish Stratus, Jazz, and Victoria, a triple threat.
Okay, I know, yeah.
Yeah, Jazz is my favorite female wrestler, and I love watching her. Like, I watch a lot of her stuff. And that was one of my favorite WrestleMania female matches. Another really good one was Trish Stratus and Mickie James at 22.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked that one, too. And the one last year, actually, that was a really good match.
Oh, they stole the show.
Yeah, that was a really good match.
Non-stop.
And I hope to be able to do that one day.
I think you'll be there. Absolutely. So before we wrap up and just tie up this interview with a bow, Is there anything you'd like to plug? Any shows you got coming up on social media outlets? I want to make sure that the listeners can find you and come see you.
Okay. My Facebook, is Joselin Navarro. My Instagram is Joselin_Navarro. My Twitter is Jos_E_Navarro. And what's the next show I have coming up? We're wrestling at a college next in Indiana, Manchester College. So that should be fun. This will be my first college show. Then I have NWA Midwest the day after, and then I have Girl Fight. It's right before Heroes and Legends. They're having us going right before their show, and awesome. And then PCW April 15th. That's on the west side of Cleveland. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of things coming.
You got a lot going. You're keeping busy, getting your name out there. So that's awesome. That's what you got to do.
Yeah. Of course, I'll be back at Battle of the Borders in June, so that should be fun. That's going to be a long weekend, by the way, because that's going to be like a double shot. But I got to come from West Virginia, I got to go to West Virginia the day after. So that's about a 6-hour drive from where we're going to be at. But I'm racking up the miles. Me and the boys is racking up the miles. We're getting out there.
All right, and building that resume up, absolutely. So. I am looking forward to coming back here to see you.
Definitely.
I can't. May 20th. Maybe we'll get that Jackson Stone Joselin match. I don't know. I'm gonna lobby for it. I'll talk to Traxler. We'll see what happens. All right, Joselin. Thanks so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Huge thank you to Joselin Navarro for coming on the show. Absolutely fun time. Huge thank again to Mega Championship Wrestling. It was an absolute blast every time I get a chance to go. More interviews to follow, guys. So be sure to tune in every day leading up to WrestleMania. We're going to have a new interview every day, probably multiple interviews, because I had so much fun and had so many awesome opportunities to talk and to converse and just hang out and pick the brains of these awesome competitors. So that was obviously a fun time, that interview with Joselin. Guys, tomorrow, again, we're going to be talking about the giants of WrestleMania, the best big men to grace the show of shows, the granddaddy of them all. And then we're also going to be doing our WrestleMania 33 and NXT TakeOver Orlando match-by-match predictions. So we're going to get a 2 for tomorrow, 2 shows in one. As always, guys, you can check us out at hardcoregeekcast.com. If you want to follow Hardcore Geek Wrestling on Twitter, go to @GeekWrestling. That's us right there. If you want to follow the Hardcore Geek Podcast on Twitter, that's HC Geekcast. And all of our past episodes are available on iTunes, on Spreaker, and pretty much anywhere else you can find your favorite podcast. I'm Ryan, signing off, and I want to say thank you to everybody who came on, and we'll see you tomorrow.